Hey there friends, how's it going? So I have some strumming Q&A I'm going to do in today's video, and I had this sort of weird camera angle here, but I think it'll be really helpful for demonstrating some of the things y'all are asking about. So I'm going to talk about this thing where sometimes my index finger leaves my pick when I'm strumming. A bunch of you have asked about that. A question about how to get light and brushy up strums, right? Where if you're going and you want us to do a sort of light and strummy down up with some maybe firm bass notes in between, right? I've had some questions about that. I'll talk about that as well because it kind of relates to the first question. And then also a great question from Cody asking about the pick sort of when you're strumming, it can kind of rotate and get sideways. That happens to me too. I'll talk about how I deal with that. So let's go through these one by one and talk about how we can help out here. So first up, Michael, you asked about my Billy Strings video lesson recently. I looked at his riff of Lonely at the top, really fun riff to play. And you say that your index finger leaves your pick and your pick appears to stick to your thumb on your down strum, and you're wondering, how do I not lose control? So here's a clip of what that looks like if you're curious. This has happened in a few different lessons, and I've seen a few comments about it on YouTube as well. So this is not a magic trick or a gimmick or anything. All that's really happening, the short answer is it's a virtue of this pick. This is the pick I use. It's a Dunlop .46 millimeter. I've used this for 10 years or so. I have a separate video, lesson 300 on my website, where I talk about why I like this pick. The short version is it has a nice firm feel, yet it's also a little bit bendy. So it lets you get those kind of light strums, but you also can project and get some of those firm notes when you need them, right? I also like the material of this pick. It has a sort of plasticky, I don't want to say rubbery, but just the material itself has a nice grip on my finger. I don't know how else to say it. See that other video where I do some sort of side-by-side comparisons and sort of explain. But yeah, this is a pick. I pay for it myself. Dunlop does not send me these or pay me to say this or anything. Now, what I like about this pick is there is a bit of a grip that you get, right? I remember back in the day I was learning magic, or when I was a little kid, right? And one of the tricks was like attaching the spoon to your nose. I don't know if you've ever tried that. The way it would work is you would just put the spoon, any old spoon on your nose, it would fall off. But if you take the spoon and you kind of rub it in your fingers, or maybe you take the grease from your nose and kind of get it on the spoon, or maybe heat it up, or get some steam on there, eventually it would kind of hit this sweet spot and just stick to your nose. That's kind of what's happening here. It's just when I'm strumming, there is a bit of probably moisture on my skin and just natural oils and stuff. In some cases, it's just a matter of me just sort of it sticking to my thumb, right? Now, the other thing that's happening here is I am loosening my grip on the pick. I'm not always squeezing the pick super hard. If you always are squeezing super hard, this is never going to happen, right? But I guess what I'm doing, so it's hard for me to imitate on demand. Basically, it's just a matter of me loosening the grip. And then that's going to sort of parlay into John's question here about finding it difficult to get a soft strum, especially on the upstrokes, right? Now, here is what I'm going to say about that, okay? When you are first starting to play guitar, you pick up the pick, you get used to it in your hand, and naturally you don't want to drop the pick. You're going to from time to time. It's going to happen. So your kind of tendency is to grip it harder. But if you grip the pick hard all the time, every strum is going to sound really, really harsh and loud, right? Because the pick is not giving at all. When it hits the strings have to move out of the way because it's like the pick is moving through a concert crowd with really stiff, strong elbows. And it's like anyone you bump into, it's going to be an elbow to the ribs, right? That's what it's like when you have a firmly held pick at all times, okay? So the answer to those softer strums is you have to lighten the grip up. Now, you still can have contact between both fingers. It just means that it's not going to be a super firm grip. It's something that you could kind of pull out. It blocks the camera. But you imagine a hand pulling it out, right? If it's a light grip, someone could pull it out of your grip easily. If you're holding it too firm, yeah, no one's going to steal the pick from you. It's not going to fall, but you're going to get those harsh up strums. So my advice to you, anyone, is to kind of experiment with a sort of just lighter grip. And I mean, one thing you could do, I was doing spider exercises earlier today where you just take first, second, third, fourth fret on each string. The tendency might be to play every string equally loud, but one sort of thing you could do is maybe do the first pluck loud, and then do soft plucks for all the other strums, right? And what this is going to teach you is if you loosen that grip, see how the pick is kind of moving? There's that little bit of of air you can kind of see between my fingertips. That is good. That's going to give us those soft strums, because what's happening is when we're moving our pick down into the strings, if you have a light grip and you let the pick kind of break, right? You like the string, like a break is, I think of waves breaking or whatever. But basically, if you keep it firm, the strings are what's going to break first, right? But if you keep it light, the strings are going to push back on the pick, and the pick's going to almost, you're pushing this way so that the tip of the pick will get caught on the string. But the trick, again, is to be relaxed enough to let this happen, but not too relaxed so that you drop the pick. Because if you drop the pick, we all know what happens, right? It just falls to the ground, and you can see a bunch down there. So this is one bit of other advice I have, is to keep a bunch of picks near you when you're playing guitar, because you don't want to be afraid of dropping the pick. Dropping the pick is kind of an important growth thing where it's going to teach you where that limit is, right? And running into that limit sometimes is good and healthy, right? It's going to sort of teach you, okay, I was too relaxed there, the pick fell. So basically, again, if you can kind of see, I am holding onto the pick even though my fingers aren't touching. That's kind of what's happening. But on those bass notes, I'm firmer with my grip, right? And another trick to get firm up strums is if you go lower with the pick, even if you're relaxed, you're going to get a really firm sound, right? If you're relaxed and you have just the tip right there, it's not going to be that loud, right? So okay, so that's the answer there, John, is just try to keep a relaxed grip on the pick, keep some picks near you, and what happens is, when I do it, naturally I'm so relaxed and I kind of know what I can get away with, because I've just been doing this for so many years and trying to push the limits of how relaxed I can be, and during certain parts of the strumming motion, there is that break. But I know when I come back to the string, I need that index finger there to catch the pick so it doesn't fall. So that's kind of what's happening. I hope that's helpful. Y'all let me know if there's additional questions you have on that topic. Now, Cody, you asked about the pick sort of, okay, as I become more comfortable, my grip loosens, which is good, but here's a bad thing that can happen, is when your grip loosens, you can sort of have the pick kind of rotate, and you'll be strumming a song, you'll be in the groove, but your pick is off axis. What do you do about that? So this definitely happens to me as well. Now, here is my answer on that one. So first of all, it's good that you're loosening your grip, but this will happen. Your pick will naturally rotate sometimes. Here is what I suggest you do, okay? Keep a pick with you in your pocket every day if you can, right? And then when you're driving, when you're walking, when you're sitting on the couch watching TV, if you're watching sports, or just when you have idle time where you can kind of fidget with something, fidget with your pick, right? This is a way to get your thumb, your index finger, and your middle finger to a point where they're just sort of like, I almost think of like pick parkour, right? They're almost like experts with the pick, where you can kind of do all the things you need it to do, and your fingers just know where the pick is and have a sense of how to move it and manipulate it and everything. You want to get to a point where when you're strumming, if it sort of rotates and you don't mean it to, you can kind of like sneak in these adjustments in between strums. And sometimes you might need to do in that long strum, you can fix the pick and then get back to it, right? Again, the ideal is you don't drop the pick. When it does rotate, you're able to adjust it either between strums, just with your index and middle finger here, or you do a long strum by yourself, a count or two, and then fix it there. But it all comes down to just your finger's ability to manipulate the pick with confidence. And that's where muscle memory comes in, and that's why I suggest keeping the pick with you. And here's a few exercises you can do. Think about the three axes, right? X, Y, and Z. Other way to say that is basically, if you imagine rotating the pick, so here's me holding the pick. You could imagine rotating it, I don't know how to describe this other than it's like the top of the pick is going over the bottom and vice versa, right? So this is the axis that's like, I guess going like this, right? I'm sort of rotating the pick over that axis, right? Maybe do that 5 times and then go back 5 times. And then you could just repeat this. I was watching a movie earlier today, and you could kind of just fidget with this during the movie, for example, right? It doesn't have to be distracting to you. Just kind of spend time doing it. Another way to do it is to do it in both directions, right? Front over the back and then back over the front. Now, the other way you could do it is the axis that's straight up and down. So that one would be rotating it like this. So it's like you're turning the table around or rotating the pizza or whatever, and then go the other way too, right? And then the final one would be, I have to really think about this. Oh yeah, is if the axis is going like front to back, so you're kind of rotating it like that, okay? And then go back as well. Now, some of these are more awkward than others, but the whole point is to get your index, middle, and thumb fingers comfortable with this so you can do this without thinking. And think about how much you play guitar, right? It might not be that much if you added it up over the course of a week. And you say you want to get better at this. But imagine you could sneak in 15 minutes a day where you don't have your guitar in your hand, but you are just fidgeting with your pick. This is giving your hand like incredibly valuable, it's like ice time for a hockey player, or, I played hockey growing up, so that's what I think about, right? Or playing soccer. It's like more touches with the ball. I played soccer men's league a few years ago. I played when I was growing up until I was about 10, and I switched to ice hockey, right? And playing in this men's league, my sense of touch with the ball and my feet was horrible because I just didn't have the thousands of hours. I had probably 100 hours from playing a couple seasons, right? And I loved playing and it was really fun, but just my sense of being able to stop a ball cleanly, that first touch and just that sense of dribbling and all that stuff, I had so much room for improvement, to be very kind to myself. And I loved it. I was kind of measuring myself against myself last week. If I could get better week over week, that was progress for me. But I watched some of these guys play and they were just so effortlessly good. And that's what comes with playing guitar year after year after year, decade after decades. Now, if you're just starting out, that's fine. Compare yourself to where you were last week or last month. And getting a pick and just spending some time doing this. Again, that time, even if it's 15 minutes a day you can squeeze in when you're not playing the guitar, it's going to make your hand that much better when you actually are doing the playing, okay? So that's my advice to you all. I guess the theme here is a light grip, but with control is going to get you a long way, but it takes time, and you really have to practice this. Sort of experiment with, the spider exercise is a good one. Heavy, light, 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 heavy, light, 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 heavy, light, light, light. Right? Or you could look at the lesson that I think John asked about when he's asking about, the lesson I did in the Guy Clark song where I'm adding depth to a simple fill. It's a nice little baseline run, but you have these nice down ups. And again, I'm just lightening my grip on those down ups. So okay. So I think that's going to do it for this video. If y'all have any other questions about strumming, let me know. I hope this camera angle is helpful. I think just seeing it like this might do the trick. And again, check out, I'm not paid to say this, but I love this pick. There's some other ones I saw in the Song Notes community forum that were recommended by other folks as well. So Michael, John, Cody, thank you all very much for being members on my Song Notes website. I hope you find the community helpful. Thanks for asking these questions, and I hope this video reply pointed you in the right direction a little bit. So again, buy lots of picks. Don't buy just 3 or 4 or 5. Buy a couple dozen. Keep them nearby so there's a nice pile. So if you do drop the picks, especially if you're doing that light grip exercise or you're working on your light grip, if you drop a pick, have a pile right on the desk or right wherever. You can just grab it and go again. You shouldn't be afraid of messing up in that respect. You got to find those lines and find the limit, go up to the limit but not beyond, and you'll sort of get to a point where you're more and more comfortable. So I hope that was helpful, everybody. I'm going to take off now. Have a great Friday, and I'll see you next week. And until then, take care. Bye-bye.